Just a few months ago, I uploaded a video series on the topic of how to self-publish a children's picture storybook. The first video in this series taught you how to write a children's picture storybook, while the second video showed you how to design unique illustrations using licensable artwork from Creative Fabrica. And I'll put a link to both of those videos at the end of this video, as well as in the description section below the video. And just note that I also have many other videos in my Self-Publishing 101 playlist showing you how to create KDP-ready manuscripts as well as book covers for a variety of activity books that you can sell on Amazon. Now, most activity books will only be offered in a paperback version due to the fact that you need a physical book to either write, draw, or color in. So the paperback book is really the only version that you'll need to create. But when it comes to children's picture storybooks, you are definitely going to want to create a Kindle ebook version to sell as well. And the reason for this is because, one, there is a huge market for children's Kindle books, and you definitely want to be tapping into that market. And the second reason is because within the first 90 days of launching your book, it's going to be from the Kindle version of your book that you're going to be getting most of your Amazon reviews from. And just know that I'm working on 2 additional videos that will show you how to get those initial reviews on your Kindle ebooks. But before I can do that, I need to make sure that you have a Kindle book that you can actually promote. So I need to show you how to convert your paperback manuscript into a Kindle format. So in this video, I'm going to walk you step by step through how to convert your children's paperback storybook into a Kindle ebook that you can sell on Amazon as well. So if you have a few books that are sitting on your KDP bookshelf that you've been wanting to turn into ebooks, then keep watching because this video is for you. Hey guys, Craig here. Hope everybody's doing well. Okay, so before we get started, we're going to have to download a special software program that will allow us to convert our paperback PDF manuscript into a Kindle-ready project file. And that software is called Kindle Create. And I'll put a link in the description section of this video where you can download the software from the Amazon website. Now all you have to do is click on the version of the software that you want, either for PC or a Mac, and then your computer will automatically start downloading the Kindle Create installer to your downloads folder. Once it's finished downloading, just drag the Kindle Creator installer icon from your downloads folder onto your desktop. Next, just double-click on the icon to begin the installation process. Just agree to the license agreement and then click the install button. Once it's completed, make sure that the Run Kindle Create box is selected and then click the Finish button. You can just skip the early access beta features for now. Now I've already used this software to convert my children's book, Who Stepped in the Pooh, into a Kindle version. And that's why I have 2 recent projects here, but you shouldn't see any projects showing here at all. Okay, now before we go any further, I just want to make sure that you have your paperback manuscript ready for conversion. So just to be clear, I'm not going to be showing you how to create the manuscript or the cover for your paperback book in this video. I have many videos on my channel that walk you through how to do that. In this video, I'm assuming that you've already published your paperback book and that you're ready to create your Kindle ebook. So that being said, you should have 2 PDF project files that pertain to your paperback book. The first PDF file will contain your book's cover, and the second PDF file will contain the interior of your book. This second file is called the manuscript. Now, as far as the manuscript goes, there really isn't anything that we need to change in this. The only thing we need to do is convert it into the proper format. It's currently in a PDF format, and we need to convert it into what's known as a KPF format. This is a format that is exclusive to Kindle. But before we convert this, we need to make one small modification to our cover PDF. So I want you to right-click on your cover PDF file and then open it up with Photoshop. If you don't have Photoshop, you can just use photopea.com or whatever photo editing software that you currently use. Once you have the file open, I want you to go up to the Image tab and from the drop-down menu, choose Canvas Size. I want you to switch the units over to percentage, and then I want you to change the width percentage to 50%. Then I want you to click on the center arrow in the right-hand column. This is going to make sure that the left side of the book cover, which is the back cover, is what will be cropped off. Now just click the OK button. When the pop-up window appears, just click the Proceed button. This front part is all we actually need for our Kindle ebook. We don't need the back cover. Now, unlike the paperback book, the cover image has to be saved out as either a JPEG or a TIFF. So head up to the File tab in the top menu, down to Export, and then choose Export As. From here, you want to switch the format over to JPEG, and then you want to make sure that it's set to at least a 6 as far as image quality goes. Now, just leave everything else the same and just hit the export button and save this image to your book's project folder. Okay, so now that you've got your book's cover ready to upload to Kindle, it's time to convert your interior PDF over to the Kindle format. So bring the Kindle Create window back up on your desktop. If you had shut it down, just click on the Start menu icon in the bottom left-hand corner of your taskbar. Find the Amazon folder in your list of software and just open Kindle Create from there. Once Kindle Create is open, select the Create New option on the screen and then click the Choose button at the bottom of the page. In the next window, there are going to be a few options to choose from. The first is the Reflowable option. This option is mostly used for novels or text-based books. This option allows the reader to adjust the font size, margins, as well as various other properties in the Kindle Reader. This is not a good option for a children's picture book, and I'll show you why in just a bit. The next two options are comics and kids. These two options are pretty much the same. When you create your ebook using one of these two options, the reader won't be able to alter anything in the manuscript itself. These are by far the best two options for children's picture books. I personally always use the comics option, and I'm going to show you why in just a bit. The last option is the print replica option. This option is primarily used when you want to add in audio or video media to your ebook. Again, not a great option for the average children's picture book. What makes the comics and kids option the best is the fact that the fonts, as well as the images, are embedded into the file so that they can't be altered by the reader. I'm just going to use comics for this example. Once you've selected your option, just hit the Continue button. On the next page, you can enter in the book's title, author name, and publisher if you want to, but it's really not necessary. Just know that if you leave these sections blank, it won't affect your book in any way. It's more for the file name. On the next page, you'll have an additional few options to choose from. The first reading option is more for comic books than it is for children's picture books. The guided view takes readers through the book one panel at a time, and the virtual view divides every page into 4 panels. For the reading direction, you're going to want your book reading from left to right. And finally, for the landscape page view, you're going to want to select facing pages. If you choose single pages and your book has full page spreads, your spreads are going to be cut in half. If you want your spreads to appear as one single page, then you're going to need to choose facing pages. This is an extremely important step, and you'll see why in just a minute. Okay, next, click the Choose Files button. In the pop-up window, find your project folder and make sure you have the file type at the bottom of the window set to PDF. Then, just choose your interior PDF file and then click the Open button. Kindle Create will immediately start converting your book interior. Once it says Import Successful, click the Continue button in the top right-hand corner of the window. Okay, so your PDF file has now been converted. If you want, that blue overlay that's on top of your selected page can be turned off right here. Now you may notice that in your left-hand page menu that your spreads are not paired up properly. Yours may be paired properly, depending on whether your book page count is even or odd numbered. But in my case, they're not. If this happens to you, don't freak out. This is a 50-page book, so it's an even numbered book. The only pages in this book that should be single pages are the first page and the last page of the book. Everything else should be facing pages. So if you select the first page of your book in the left-hand menu, you'll notice that in the right-hand menu, the page type is set by default to single page. For this page, that's fine. Now if you click on your second page, you'll also notice that it's also set by default to single page in the right-hand menu. Change it to facing page. Doing that should reorder 90% of your book and line your page spreads up properly. Now if I scroll down to the very bottom of my book in the left-hand menu, you'll notice that the last 3 pages are still singles. So I'm just going to select the third from the last page and I'm going to change the page type to facing as well. Now my book is laid out exactly how it's supposed to be. Now because you won't be using a back cover in the Kindle version of your book, I strongly recommend that you have some type of call to action on the last page of your manuscript before you convert it over to an ebook. And by call to action, I mean either a promotion for your other books or asking the reader to leave a review on either Amazon or Goodreads. You can tie your call to action into your book's story like I did, or you can just say something like, if you enjoyed this book, please consider leaving a review on either Amazon or Goodreads. How you do it is entirely up to you, but I strongly recommend that you do it. Once you have all of the pages sorted and paired off properly, click the little Save button in the top right-hand corner and then click the Preview button to see what your book is going to look like in Kindle. Make sure that you have the orientation set to landscape in the left-hand menu. Once you've reviewed it, close down the preview window, go up to the right-hand corner and click on the export icon. Choose your project folder in the pop-up menu, name your file, if you didn't name it when you were starting this project, and then click the Save button. When it's done converting, you can close down Kindle Create and then just head over to your project folder and you should have the converted KPF file. This is the file that you're going to upload as your manuscript for your ebook's interior, and the JPEG is what you're going to upload as your ebook's cover. Leave this PDF file here, just in case you have to make any changes later on. Okay, now I want to show you why it's so important to choose all of the options that we chose in the Kindle Creator. So if I open up my Kindle ebook for Who Stepped in the Poo, you can see that the book automatically fills up the entire screen by default. And that with the exception of the cover and the first page, all of my other pages are facing each other and are presented as spreads, as opposed to individual pages. You'll also notice that I don't have very many options in the top menu. I mean, really, with the exception of jumping to a particular page, the only things that I can really affect in this ebook is whether or not my book shows up in spreads or single pages, and whether it's in full screen mode or not. Other than that, as a reader, I can't alter this book in any way. And that's a good thing. This book will always open up full size. So if I'm reading it from my Kindle reader on my computer desktop, it's going to look like this. If I'm reading it on a mobile Kindle reader, it will look like this. So the presentation of the book will always be consistent. Remember, you're the designer of the book, so you should control how your readers are going to view your book. Giving your reader the ability to alter any aspect of your book's layout is just a disaster waiting to happen. Let me give you a few examples. So this book here has a few more tool options in the top menu. Going from right to left, the first option is a notebook. Why anyone would need a notebook for a children's picture book is beyond me. I personally think that this is kind of a pointless feature. The next option is for bookmarking the page that you're currently on. This would be a useful option if it wasn't for the fact that Kindle does this automatically when you shut the reader down. So again, it's really not all that necessary. You still have the option to go full screen, as well as the option to zoom in. Again, not really a necessary option. Most people will read this book as fit to the window. Now, if I wanted to reduce it a bit, I could go down to 200% like so. Or I could just reduce the window like this. Again, it's not a necessary option. And as for this little hand tool, the only time this is useful is if I'm zoomed in too close. But if my book doesn't have the zoom feature, then I'll never be zoomed in too close, so I have no need for this hand tool. So for me, all of these extra tools are of little to no use for a children's picture book. Now with this next book, this is the default size for this book. At this size, the book is almost unreadable. And you'll notice that there's no zoom drop down in the menu like there was in the last book. Another thing that you'll notice is that the default setting is for single pages. Now I have a spread option here, but when I click on it, nothing happens. These two pages are supposed to be a spread. But because the author didn't select facing pages when they were converting their book over from PDF, the spread option isn't available. So I can only view this book as single pages. Now one additional option that comes with this book is the font adjustment. Now fortunately, if I want to zoom in on this page, I can do so in this menu here. But other than that, this menu really doesn't have a lot of use to it. If I want to change the font type, I can't. If I want to change the font size, I can't do that either. All I'm doing is zooming in a little bit on the page. If I want to change the font alignment or line spacing, I can't do those things either. The only things that I can really do with this tool is zoom in and out, alter the brightness of the page, and change the background color. All of which, if the book was fit to window by default, are completely pointless options. And once again, because the pages weren't set to facing during the setup, this spread tool does absolutely nothing. Now the reason that these tools don't actually do anything is because all of the text in this book is embedded. So choosing the reflowable option during the setup is kind of pointless for this book. But trust me, if the fonts hadn't been embedded, the overall result would have been far worse. Okay, now at first glance, this next book looks fine. This was actually the default size when I first opened this book up. But watch what happens as I start to go further into the book. The layout of the book gets blown completely apart. So as the reader, I now have to go in and start designing this book. I can start by changing the font type, and then play around with the line spacing as well as the font size. And as you can see, I'm completely changing the layout of this book. Once I start playing around with the background color and the page width, I literally have no idea what the author's intentions were as far as the book layout goes. I mean, like, what images are supposed to go with what text? I have no idea. And because of all of these additional options, this just makes for a bad viewing experience for the reader. And this is why you want to make sure that your book has the least amount of options possible. You created your picture book with a set layout in mind. Don't give your reader the option to change that layout, because it's just going to make it look like you did a really horrible job laying out your book, when in reality, the reason that it looks like crap is because your reader is messing around with it and they don't know what they're doing. You want your children's picture book to look like this in any version. This book will look like this in hardcover, paperback, or ebook format. And that's because everything is embedded, the pages are facing, and the comic option was used to convert the PDF file. So the reader has pretty much no ability to alter the book's layout at all. You want every person who's reading your book to have the exact same experience, regardless of which format they're reading it in. Okay, so now that your project files have been converted over to the Kindle format, it's time to upload your ebook to KDP. Now there are two ways that you can go about uploading your Kindle ebook. The first is when you finish uploading your paperback book, you'll be given the option to upload an ebook as well. But if your ebook isn't ready yet, don't worry about it. You can always upload your ebook right from your bookshelf at any time. All you have to do is click on the little Create Kindle ebook button. Okay, so once you're ready to upload your ebook, this is what the process will look like. It's pretty much identical to the paperback uploading process. In fact, most of the information that you entered in when you were uploading your paperback book will have already been pre-filled in the ebook upload forms. So most of the information about your book will just be carried over. But there are going to be a few things that you'll have to fill out. The first is going to be the categories. Kindle categories and paperback categories are not the same on Amazon. So you're going to have to go through and choose 3 categories from the Kindle selections. They'll probably be very similar to the paperback categories that you had selected on your paperback book, only these will be for Kindle. Now, once you've selected those categories, click the Save and Continue button at the bottom of the page. On the next tab is where you'll upload your manuscript and cover file. So for your interior manuscript, upload the little Kindle package, which is your converted KPF file. For your cover, just upload the JPEG file that we exported out of Photoshop. Now, if we scroll down, everything else is pretty much the same. Once again, you're going to have to acknowledge as to whether or not you used AI to generate your book. Just to quickly go over this one more time, if you use something like ChatGPT to write your story, acknowledge that here. But if you wrote the story yourself, then just leave this set to none. Now, when it comes to using images from third-party sites like Fabrica, you can't always be sure whether or not a particular image was created using AI. So to play it safe, if you're using images from Fabrica, just say yes to this here, and choose the option Many Images with Extensive Editing. It's better to be safe than sorry. And when it asks you what tools were used to create the AI images, because there really isn't any way of knowing which AI image generators the seller used, just put unknown followed by images purchased in the brackets. Doing that will let KDP know that you licensed the images from a third party. And finally, once you've uploaded your project files, you'll be able to preview your ebook right here. Now the previewer will open up in portrait mode, but if your book contains full graphic spreads in it, then you're going to want to switch over to the landscape mode to preview it. Now you can just go through the entire book and make sure that everything is the way you want it. Once you're done, just hit the back button. At the very bottom of the page, you'll have the option to enter in an ISBN number. Just know that you don't need an ISBN for a Kindle ebook. The only reason that I have one is because I'm Canadian, and in Canada, we get all our ISBN numbers for free, so we may as well use them. But you can leave this section blank if you want to. Once you're finished, just click the Save and Continue button. The last tab is where you enter in your pricing. Now, as for KDP Select enrollment, you can just skip this for now. There is a very good reason to enroll your ebook into KDP Select, but I'm not going to go over that until my next video. When it comes to pricing, I recommend choosing the 70% option, which allows you to receive the 70% royalty in expanded distribution areas. And as far as your price goes, you can set it to whatever royalty you want to have on your ebook. I recommend keeping your retail price fairly low, at least until your book starts to sell. Okay, then once you have your pricing all set up, just click on the Publish Your Kindle ebook button. And that's all there is to it. Your ebook should show up on your Amazon product page within 72 hours. Okay, so now that you know how to convert your paperback book over to a Kindle ebook, get that book converted and get that Kindle ebook onto your Amazon product page. Because in my next video, I'm going to show you how to promote as well as how to get sales and reviews for your book using that Kindle ebook. And once that video is uploaded, you'll be able to find a link to it right here. But until that time, check out my 2 video series on how to write and how to design graphics for a children's picture storybook without drawing. You can get started on that series by watching video 1, which is located right up there. Until next time, take care.